people. I'm very grateful to be with all of you. Shri Radha Gopi Vallabha's beautiful ancient temple. Thank you, Daru Krishna Prabhu, for opening the doors to this divine abode. And to my dearest friend and well-wisher, Niranjan Swami Maharaj, always encouraging me to come. And I couldn't, even though it was not on my schedule, and the organizers told me it's too much, I changed my schedule because if I tell Niranjan Maharaj I came, he will bless me. And that's worth all other inconveniences. So the story of how sometimes inconveniences come when we're blessed by someone, to get the blessings of someone, is very much illustrated in this narration of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. The scene is during the travels of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with just a few of his associates from Shantipur to Jagannath Puri. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had just taken sannyas, Makara Sankranti time, 500 years ago from today. And afterward, he was enthused to go to Vrindavan. But on the way, Nityananda Prabhu was feeling the anguish of separation in the hearts of all the devotees in Navadvip area. So by his own means, knowing the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that ultimately he is more concerned with pleasing his devotees than doing what he wants, he arranged for Lord Chaitanya to go to Shantipur without even knowing it. How is it that the Lord that is all-knowing didn't know it? If the Lord can do anything, then it was within his means to not know something, while still knowing it, for the sake of heightening the intimacy and the ecstasy of his lila of love with his devotees. If someone says that the Lord, it's not possible that the Lord cannot know something. Say, if the Lord can do anything, then he can also not know something. Yes? By his own sweet will. In the ecstasy of love. Love is the principle of the true relationship between Krishna and his devotees. And that love is achintya, is inconceivable. So Nityananda Prabhu brought the Lord to Shantipur, and there Sachimata came to see him, the Lord's mother, and seeing her beautiful son as a sannyasi with a shaved head and saffron robe, she could only cry. And Lord Chaitanya offered his obeisances to her. She took him on her lap and cried on him and kissed him, and this was sannyasi in public. But the Lord was completely happy, reciprocating with the love of his devotee. And Sachimata and all the devotees requested, do not go to Vrindavan. It is too far. We'll never hear anything about you. The same Krishna that is living in Vrindavan resides in Puri as Jagannath. They are like two rooms in the same house. People are always going back and forth. In this way, I'll get to hear about you. That will keep me alive. So on the request of his mother, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with Nityananda and Mukunda, Jagadananda, Damodar Pandit, they all walked to Puri. And on the way, they stopped in this particular temple of Shakshi Gopal. And there, Nityananda Prabhu, when he was young, for about 20 years, he was constantly on pilgrimage, going from place to place. From the Himalayas, Badrikashram, down to Kanyakumari, the southern tip of India, from Rameshwaram, the eastern part, to Dwarka, the western. He went to all holy places, thousands of holy places. And he had been to Shakshi Gopal Temple. And he had heard the history of the place. So here, for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya and the other devotees, Sri Nityananda Prabhu is describing from the perception of pure unalloyed devotion this incredible story. Where an old Brahmin, in the last phases of his life, wanted to go to holy places. And a young Brahmin met him and felt the pangs of the old Brahmin trying to walk and travel from place to place in such an old age. And really, a holy place is revealed to us according to our service attitude. Because a holy place is not different than Krishna himself. It's Krishna's place. Yeyatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamya. Krishna reveals himself according to our surrender. Bhaktya-tvananiya shakya aham evam vidorajana. Only by unalloyed, unmotivated devotional service can I be seen as I am. And similarly, a holy place is the same. Krishna reveals the glory of a place of pilgrimage according to our surrender, according to our selfless spirit of devotion. Some people go to Vrindavan and they see sewage and hogs and Brijabasis trying to cheat you and get more money than what you're supposed to pay. They see traffic. And other people go and they see each little weed that may be growing in the ground is a kalpavriksha. They see the soil as chintamani, spiritual substance. They see Radha and Krishna. In feelings of separation, they feel them everywhere. It's just according to our devotion. So this young Brahmin, he was serving this elder Brahmin who was a great devotee. And even though he didn't have to do that, he wanted to, out of love. And he accepted so many inconveniences and hardships just to serve this old Brahmin. Menial service. And eventually they came to Vrindavan, the holiest of all holy places. And the nature of a great Vaishnava is to be grateful. The old Brahmin was not just expecting the young Brahmin to do things for him. He needed his help, desperately. And the young person, without asking anything in return, just wanted to serve a Vaishnava. The elderly Brahmin was so grateful, because love is reciprocal. Love is not about taking. Love is about the reciprocation of giving and receiving. He wanted to give the best thing he had to this young Brahmin as an expression of his love and gratitude. Because the reciprocation of love between two devotees is what Krishna takes the greatest pleasure in experiencing. So the young person was pleasing Krishna tremendously because he was serving this Vaishnava without expecting anything in return. And the older Brahmin wanted to please Krishna by giving the best thing he had to the young Brahmin, his daughter, in marriage. The young Brahmin said, I don't want your daughter. I just want to serve you. I don't want anything in return. But the elder Brahmin so deeply wanted to give his daughter, to show his gratitude, to reciprocate with love. So they were both, Prabhupada explains, they were both pure devotees. The young Brahmin didn't care anything about a daughter or getting married, but he was willing to accept just to reciprocate with the love of this older Brahmin. But he warned him. He said, I'm coming from a low caste of Brahmins, and you are coming from a very aristocratic caste. Your family will never ever accept this kind of marriage. Because in those days in India, the caste conception was very strong. In many places it still is, especially when it has to do with marriage. But the older man said, I am the senior person in my family. If I want to do it, no one can stop me, and I want to give you my daughter. The younger Brahmin wanted to protect the older Brahmin. It's not that he wanted the daughter, he wanted to protect, he wanted to facilitate the service. He said, you're making this promise to me, but you're not going to be able to keep it. But if you make it in front, so they decided he will make it in front of the deity of Gopal, whose temple is very close to the bank of Yamuna, even today. There's no deity in that temple. It's a beautiful temple, but no deity. And the reason why you are about to discover. One of the most ancient, beautiful temples in all of Vrindavan has no deity. For 500 years. The anniversary of the deity leaving the temple is this year. It's a good time to tell the story. It's the 500th anniversary of when Gopal left Vrindavan. Why? We will soon find out. So the elder Brahmin went before Gopal with the younger Brahmin, and he said, I promise you, Gopal, I will give my daughter's hand in marriage to my friend. And the younger Brahmin looked at Gopal and said, now you are the witness, you will have to testify. And they walked. They came all the way back to Orissa, 1,000 miles, Vidyanagar. And in today's verse we find that the elder Brahmin, he hesitated. He knew what was going to happen. But finally he understood, I have to keep my promise, I have to. I not only promised to a Vaishnava, I promised before God. So he told his family his plan. They were outraged, really outraged. How could you do this? This is nonsense. What right do you have to give my sister? And the wife was saying, my daughter, she's my daughter too. What right without consulting us? This will destroy the aristocracy of our family, giving our daughter to a low-class Brahmin family? Never. And they were so disturbed that they told him, if you do this, everyone in your family is going to drink poison and commit suicide. We would rather die than be disgraced. Dishonor worse than death. Now what is the father supposed to do? His wife's going to commit suicide. His son's going to commit suicide. So he has to either lie to Krishna If he doesn't, he'll lose his family. And they were really, really forceful, especially his son. He was saying, you're such a pious person, you're such a religious man, you don't want to lie to Krishna, you don't have to lie. I'll take care of it. You just say you don't remember what happened. So this is what happened. So what's about to take place, because I'm not going to be here next week when you continue the story, is after a long time, the young Brahmin comes and says to the older Brahmin, he didn't care about the marriage. He wanted to protect the older Brahmin from falling down, because telling a lie is a fall down. Truthfulness is a very sacred part of devotion. We shouldn't take it for granted. And this just happened 500 years ago. This is not something that happened 5,000 years ago, where we may think, well, truthfulness was important then, but now it's not so important. It's always important. We lose Krishna's mercy if we're not honest. Especially if we lie to a devotee. And factually, Krishna is always the witness to anything we say, whether we say it in front of the deity or not. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridesherjanatishthati is a deity within our heart. The deity of Gopal is sitting within our heart and he hears everything we say. So the young Brahmin understood, this will be the ruination of my friend's life if he doesn't give his daughter to me, because it will mean he has told a lie. So he immediately served by bringing water for baths, by bringing wood and making fires to keep the old Brahmin warmed, by begging food or preparing food for him, he massaging him when he walked long distances. He selflessly served. And now he wanted to serve him by protecting the integrity of his relationship with Krishna. So he came and said, why are you not saying anything? You promised. And the old man said, I don't remember. And then the son started chastising this boy who saved his father's life, who wanted nothing in return. He went out and started telling the townspeople that this young boy, he is a crook, he is a criminal, he is a nonsense. He was traveling with my father and giving him intoxicating things that were putting him in a bad state of mind only because he wanted to rob him. He wanted to exploit him. And now look at this. After exploiting my father in so many ways, this scoundrel, this rascal, this demon is now coming and saying that my father made a promise to give my daughter in marriage. And he was very, very convincing. And he was spreading these horrible lies and trying to totally assassinate the character of this young Brahmin who wanted nothing more than to selflessly serve with love and devotion. But that's the way the world is. People with ulterior motives are willing to say anything. And this poor young Brahmin, he could have just said, I didn't want this, I don't want to be married in your crazy family anyway. Having a brother-in-law like you and a mother-in-law like you, no way. I can do much better than this. He could have said that. He had no attachment. He never even saw the girl before. But out of his love for this devotee, he wanted to protect him. So he said no. He said he made the promise. In front of the Gopal was our witness. And the son of the old Brahmin, for him this was complete nonsense. Gopal's the witness. Gopal's a deity in Vrindavan, 1,000 miles away. What are we supposed to believe? The young Brahmin says, well, if I bring him here to testify, then you will all agree. And the young son said, bring him here. If he comes and he testifies, then yes, you marry my sister. This is ridiculous. A deity made of stone, walking and talking. But the young Brahmin. Now please understand, this reciprocation of love between Vaishnavas. He wanted nothing for himself. He just wanted to serve this older Brahmin by protecting his spiritual life, by not making him a liar. Just for this purpose. He walked all the way back to Vrindavan, 1,000 miles. Didn't take a train, didn't take a plane, didn't take a bus or a car. He walked. That was the only way. Weeks and weeks. And then he went to the Gopal temple and he explained the situation to the deity. I want to save this person's spiritual life. His integrity is at risk. Please come and testify. And he was speaking to the deity with such faith in such a personal way. He wasn't speaking to the deity as some stone representation of God. He was seeing him as God himself. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha, whose body is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. And because he was speaking to the deity with so much total faith that the deity is Krishna, and he hears everything I speak personally, the Lord reciprocates with our faith and surrender. So he was talking to Krishna with such faith, so Krishna spoke back. The deity spoke. Not just like the deity was standing like this, and some voice came from the sky in the thunder. No. Krishna put his flute aside and his lips moved and he looked at the Brahmin and started talking. He said, how could I go there? I'm a deity. It's not that he was going to put him in a box and take him, ship him like we ship deities. He didn't have such facilities. He had nothing. He was just a simple Brahmin. He said, how can I go there? He said, you walk. He said, deities don't walk. And Prabhupada tells a story in such a sweet way. He said the Brahmin so lovingly said to the deity, if you can talk, you can walk. And Prabhupada said, and Gopal was defeated. He said, all right, I will come with you. He said, but under the condition that you have to feed me rice every day. And you cannot look back. If you look back and see me, wherever I am at that point, I will stop and I will not go further. But you'll know that I'm following you because you'll hear the tinkling of my ankle bells walking behind you. So the young Brahmin walked all those 1,000 kilometers, and the whole time he heard the ankle bells of Gopal behind him. Now, weeks of walking. Can you imagine the feeling in his heart? He never could look back and see Krishna. And this idea of seeing a deity walking, he never got to see it. Really a temptation. You know, Krishna's a deity of Gopal is walking behind him. And I mean, just want to see it. But he never looked back because it was Krishna's desire that he never looked back. And he was performed this severe austerity of walking all the way and walking all the way back and not even looking at Krishna the whole way, just for the purpose of protecting a Vaishnava, protecting a devotee's spiritual life. And ultimately they came to Vidyanagar. And when they reached the outskirts of the town, the young Brahmin looked back, and there was Gopal. And he stood, didn't move. Then he went and he called all the townspeople. Said, Gopal came, just like I told you he would come. What? Everybody was astonished. Gopal came. They all went, and there was Gopal. And on the request of the young Brahmin, he testified that yes, the old Brahmin gave his promise. At that point, everyone was converted. And the marriage took place. And the young Brahmin and the old Brahmin's wife, after they were married, they spent the rest of their lives serving Gopal together with unconditional, unmotivated, pure love. That was all. They didn't need anything else. The highest love is when we're serving Krishna together without selfish motivations. So why is this story about a marriage so interesting to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who had just taken sannyas? Yes, usually when you just take sannyas, you don't want to hear stories about people getting married. He just left his wife, he just left his mother, he just broke his whole marriage in order to become a renunciate, and Nityananda's telling him about a marriage. It's not about a marriage. It's about the pure, intimate love between devotees. That's incredible. What was that? Sounds like Gopal's coming. It is a story of the genuine love and concern for Vaishnavas. It's like His Holiness Niranjan Swami Maharaj wrote this beautiful book. What is the name of that book?
Taking care of devotees?
Taking care of devotees, yes. And he quotes from Srila Prabhupada, from our scriptures, with such eloquence. How if there's one single thing that will please Krishna that we do, it's chanting the holy names and serving the devotees. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Namaruchi, Vaishnava Seva, and Jivadoya. These are the three great pillars of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. To develop a taste for the chanting of the holy names, to serve devotees, and to show compassion to the conditioned souls by somehow or other connecting them to the path of pure bhakti. And serving devotees isn't just about the ritual of bowing down. That's part of it. It's not just the ritual of, doing something. It's to genuinely, from within the heart of our hearts, to really care. And this young devotee, how did he serve this older devotee? He served his body. He served his body by massaging him, by helping him walk, by helping him to get bath, to helping him to have food. Because the body is the sacred temple in which a Vaishnava the soul is living in. And that temple is the medium in which we can show our love for the devotee. It's not Maya serving the body of someone else. If it's done in Krishna consciousness, the body is a medium in which I can show my love for the soul, because we can't do that much for the soul in that expression. Just like the deity of Krishna. We could love Krishna, but he comes in a deity, so we can dress him and cook for him and massage him and see him. Similarly, the body of a devotee is like a deity, in which it's a medium in which we can serve. We could serve Krishna in the most intimate way by serving the body of a devotee, if it's with selfless service. So he served the Brahman's body, and he served his mind by giving him such encouragement and such friendship. And he served his soul by assisting him in going to so many holy places of pilgrimage. And he did it without anything expected in return. But even when you do that, selfless, unalloyed devotion, you may be tested. And he was tested in a very, very difficult way. He was being accused of abominable activities. He was being made publicly into a criminal, a liar, a cheater, an exploiter. He could have given up, but such devotee care. He was willing to go to such lengths for one reason only: to protect the Krishna consciousness of another Vaishnava. And there's nothing that's more pleasing to Krishna than this. And that's why Nityananda Prabhu, the original spiritual master, is telling this story for the pleasure of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya is in ecstasy listening to this story of the love between devotees and the satisfaction of Krishna. Even Krishna walked 1,000 miles on the basis of the love of this young devotees for this elder Brahmin. They weren't even family members. They were just strangers who met. And they became so close. Krishna in the center. And from that day on, Gopal is known as Shakshi Gopal. Gopal who gave witness to protect the love of his devotee. And the elderly Brahmin, he spent the rest of his life worshipping Gopal. And his daughter, son-in-law, spent the rest of their lives serving Gopal. And that is why when you go to Vrindavan, the temple's still empty. Because that just gives such a dynamic spirit of the nature of this story. Krishna left Vrindavan. Yes? He left the most beautiful red sandstone temple in Vrindavan on the banks of the Jamuna. And 500 years ago, the Jamuna was really flowing forcefully with completely transparent waters and lotus flowers and everything. He left Vrindavan in the banks of the Yamuna to walk all the way to Orissa. Just to be a part of the loving reciprocation between two devotees. This is Vaishnava society. And today, between Bhuvaneshwar and Puri is the temple of Shakshi Gopal. He was moved after some years to this new place. And deity is there. It's been there all these years. And when we understand the story, when we see the Lord, we understand how the Lord loves and protects his devotees. Konteya pratijanime. Of course, if you don't have an Indian body, you're not allowed in the temple. But we can see through hearing, wherever we are. And I thank you very much. And at this time, I have to run as fast as possible because I have a train to New Jersey to give a lecture tonight. But it's really an honor and a privilege to come here. And please do report to Niranjan Maharaj that and ask him to bless me with the dust of his lotus feet as the servant of his loving servants. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much.